Hi everyone, it's Kate from the Fold Line. I am back this week with the Sew Down. This is our monthly sort of roundup of stuff that we've seen, read, sewn, that we thought you guys might find interesting. I don't know if I've shared this on a video before. Yeah, I should probably show you, and it's a bit crumpled, apologies. So I've actually made something in the last couple of months. I don't know if I've worn it on a video yet. So this is, I might have shown you, beautiful linen fabric from Merchant and Mills I bought, and I made it into the named Helmy, which I have now made 3 of. So it's probably my personal favourite tried and tested pattern. It's really nice, sort of simple shirt. There's a seam line here. I'm quite pleased with the pattern matching there. I was quite pleased with that. I've worn it quite a lot already, so I know I'm going to get good wear out of it. And this linen from Merchant and Mills is lovely. I will pop links to everything that I have spoken about down below, so if there's anything that you want to go and look at or see, it's all there. First things first, before I get going, the sewing weekend, I just wanted to say a huge thank you. Anyone who came, anyone who doesn't know what it is, it was an online event that we ran last weekend, and it was amazing. I just really wanted to thank everyone who came, bought a ticket, all the people who contributed. We raised nearly £23,500 for 4 charities, which is amazing. We sold nearly 2,000 tickets, and we had people from, I think it was 37 different countries, so it really was everyone all over the world, and it felt amazing. It was really nice, especially because we've all been trapped in lockdown, so it felt nice for everyone to sort of come together online. Yeah, so I just really wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who bought a ticket, and thank you to everyone who contributed as well, because without them we wouldn't have been able to do it, and they all gave their time for free. So yeah, we're really chuffed. So 100% of the profits, well, 100% of the sales have gone to to the charity, so that is fantastic. So a huge thank you. Right, I always start this with a couple of indie designers, ones that you may not have heard of. The first one I'm going to talk to you about is Pattern Paper Scissors. It's a UK based company. She specialises in children's wear. She worked in, it's UK based, I don't know if I said that. She worked in fashion for 15 years as a women's wear and children's wear designer, and she has, since having a child, has created her own range of patterns. They are absolutely, as you can see them swizzling past here, really beautiful. You can tell she's worked in fashion. All the colour palette is lovely, but the shapes are really classic but contemporary. I mean, they're lovely. I think as a collection of patterns, if you bought a few of these, you've just got a kind of capsule wardrobe for your kid that's really easy to wear, quite simple shapes, simple sewing as well. I think they're really beautiful. So if you haven't seen her before, definitely go and check her out. She is great, and we got her patterns up on the site a week or so ago. And they're beautiful, so definitely worth having a look at. The second designer is obviously one that you will have heard of, Style Arc. For any of you that haven't, huge Australian pattern company. They've got gazillions of patterns. They have always offered paper patterns, but for us to get them from Australia, it's really hard and it takes forever. But anyway, we now stock some of their collection on the site. I will pop a link so you can go and see what we have available. But yeah, it's really exciting. We've wanted to have them for ages. I think they have 23 of their patterns in print, and they will be bringing out more, so we will be getting them, more and more of them as they come through. But yeah, really exciting to have that. I love it when we get a new person or a new big designer on the site, so it's really exciting, and I'm a big fan of their patterns. I will say, for anyone who hasn't used them before, the instructions on them are sparse. They are probably designed more at an intermediate maker. There aren't illustrated pictures to go with them, so it's just written instructions, and there might be one illustration, but it's not as hand-holdy as some of the other indie designers, so that is definitely worth noting. I mean, some of the patterns, the more simple patterns, I reckon a beginner could do, but I just wanted to say that. Next up is something that I bought ages ago, and I haven't shared it with you because I don't know, I sort of forgot about them, and then anyway, I bought them at the Stitch Festival, which was in February, and I just haven't shared them, and they are beautiful, so I thought I'd show you. They're from Beyond Measure. I'll pop a link to them, and they're these beautiful earrings. So if I come up and show you up here, like so, can they? I'm not sure how well that worked, if I'm going to be completely honest. I'm going to put a picture in because it's very hard to see, but these beautiful little earrings that say handmade, they're from Beyond Measure. The designer is called Materia Rica, and there's a whole collection of them. So there's earrings, necklaces, and they're really beautiful. They're laser cut, so these bits are wood, and this is I don't think it's real. Obviously, they're quite the hoops are kind of proper gold. I think they're sort of what you know what I mean, metal. But they are really nice. I've worn them a few times, and I love that they say handmade on them. And I was going to be wearing them, but I thought I was trying to show you, which obviously didn't work out so well. So yeah, I'll pop a link down to them because she's got some really nice things. Definitely worth checking out. They were, how much were they? £22 for these. So quite good, yeah. I obviously haven't worn them as much as I was hoping to, but hey ho. Right, next up I've got an Instagram account that is worth following in light of everything that has happened within the world in the last few weeks. Black Makers Matters is an Instagram group that's set up. It's a group of black makers who want to change, have kind of implement change within the community of makers, crafting and sewing industry, which is really important and something that needs to be addressed. They've already had a meeting with Simplicity, the company that owns Simplicity McCall's, all of that lot. So they're really on it, and they're definitely worth following along and finding out what they're doing. And I think it's something that's important for us all to follow. So definitely go and give them a follow. Next up, this is totally random. Quite a lot of people have sent me messages and left comments about my flowers. I know this is, I did mention this like quite a few months ago. I get a subscription from a small company that is called Freddies Flowers. I get them probably every 2 or 3 weeks. They come through the letterbox. They're really lovely quality. They last for, well, this bunch is 2 weeks old, so they last much longer than the supermarket ones. I have got a discount code, well, a code that you get a free box if you'd like to try them. So the people who've been asking me and wanted to know where, I said that I'd pop this in and pop the code. So if you want to, you get a free bunch of flowers, and I get 50% off my next bunch. Everyone's a winner. No pressure, just I got a lot of questions, so there'll be the code down below if you want to go and get a free bunch. I've been using them for about a year. I really like them. Anyone who's obsessed with flowers like me. Next up, stuff to watch. First things first, the Sewing Bee. I'm sure a lot of you are already watching it, but yeah, the final was next week, so that is very exciting. I can't wait to see it, and I hope you've all got your kind of, we can all watch it along live together. I think it's going to be a good one, definitely. And if you haven't watched it yet, binge watch it this week and we'll watch it live with us next Wednesday night. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Something to read that I'm reading, well, at the moment, actually not even read, a website. So I came across this 20 books that everyone should read by 30. I'll pop a link to it. It's on Penguin, and it's got a really fantastic range of cult classic books. I was quite pleased to find out that I'd actually read quite a lot of them, so that made me felt good. But yeah, they're really, if you're looking for something kind of really good and a bit of a classic and you're not quite sure where to turn, this is a really good blog post, so it's definitely worth going and checking out. There's some lovely books in there. What I'm reading this month, following on from everything that's happening in the world. I'm reading British by Afua Hirsch, and it's about race, identity and belonging. It's specifically UK, it's got a UK slant to it. It's about our UK history, and it's really, really fantastic. It's beautifully written, it's uncomfortable to read, but it's definitely worth it. So anyone who's looking to sort of learn a bit more about this is definitely worth doing. You can listen to it on Audible as well, so it's really fab. Right, stuff to watch. I've got two things to watch. First things first, I'm sure a lot of you are already watching this, but I just want to kind of pull your attention to it. This Is Us. If you haven't watched it, I'm so jealous, because you've got, I think, 3 seasons. I think this is the 4th season, so you've got 3 seasons to go back and watch. It is incredible. It's on Amazon Prime. It's a story of a family, triplets, and it's really cleverly done because it goes back in time. So it goes back to when the children are little, when the children are teenage, and it plays in with the current theme of what is happening right now. The kids are now late 30s. It's so wonderful. It's probably my favourite show I've seen in a really long time. You cry in it, you feel good about life. It's just wonderful. If you haven't watched it, you will love it. It's fantastic. Go and watch it. The other thing that I'm watching is on, Rachel and I are obsessed with it. It's on ITV, and it's with Davina McCall, and it's cool. It's long lost families and the stories of foundlings. So these are children who are left as babies in places, and no one ever knows. They then don't know who their parents are, and they try and track them down. There are, I think, 2 or 3 episodes out from the most recent series, and the stories of them are completely fascinating, and you probably will cry, I'm just going to warn you. But they're true stories, they track their parents down. It's amazing. It's one of Rachel and our personal favourites, so it's definitely worth going and having a look at. And my dad is adopted, so I find it extra fascinating because we never found out who his kind of birth parents were. So yeah, it's wonderful. Right, stuff to listen to. So when I was on the Penguin website reading the list of books, I then discovered the Penguin podcast, which is amazing. So definitely go and check it out. The latest episode, which I listened to, has got Sue Perkins interviewing Martin Gladwell, and the premise of the podcast is that they bring a few items with them to the interview that influence their life. And they're really good. They've got really interesting groups of people. They've got Nigella Lawson and Katie Brand, Emma Kennedy with Katie Brand, and who else? I mean, there's a real list of good stuff. So that is really nice to listen to. They're about an hour long, so go and check that out. Next up, Desert Island Discs. I know I talk about Desert Island Discs every single time, but there's a particular one that I thought was really good. It was called Your Desert Island Discs, if you haven't listened to it. And they're true stories. They're stories from listeners during lockdown, and they're really sweet and lovely and heartwarming, and definitely go and have a listen to it. Next, I have got something that is musical based. I know I never do this, it's always podcasts. Sounds of the 90s with Fern Cotton. If you were a 90s kid like myself, born in the 80s, teenagers in the 90s and 2000s, this is so up your street. It's got all the classics. S Club 7, the Spice Girls, All Saints, everything. Oh God, Take That. So good. It's definitely worth going and listening to. I love it. And they're really nice and long as well, so you can just pop it on and basically bop around your house. It's fab. Last but not least, on the podcast front, and I'm sure a lot of you are already listening to this, so apologies if you are, but Unlocking Us by Brené Brown is fabulous. If you haven't heard of her, she's a she's a professor, a researcher. She's written lots of books. She spent 20 years studying emotions and vulnerability, and she interviews really famous and interesting people on different subjects, and has very interesting and deep conversations with them, and each one is about an hour long. They're fabulous. If you've got kind of a decent chunk of time, it's one that you have to listen quite hard. It's not one that sort of wafts in the background, you have to kind of concentrate, but they're really fab, really fab. So that is it from me this week. I hope you are well and everything's okay, and I will be back soon with another video. Have the most fabulous weekend. Bye!